Hi, welcome to Bonus Roll. We are doing looking at Mages of Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana, and we're taking a look at Mage of Silverquill. So these subclasses are available to multiple different classes. In this case, Mage of the Silverquill is available to Bard, Warlock, or Wizard subclasses. In which case, it would take the place of your Bardic College, your Warlock Patron, or your Wizard School or Arcane Tradition. Um, how this works is basically when you would be normally gaining a class subclass ability, such as at level 2 with the wizard, or level 1 with the warlock, or level 3 with the bard, you instead check this document, see what is unlocked for you at that level, and choose that. And of course, if you are a wizard warlock, you can't be Mage of the Silverquill wizard and Mage of the Silverquill warlock. However, I haven't seen anything that said you can't double major into two different schools as like a bard and a wizard for, say, Lorehand. Bard, Silverquill Wizard. So there's definitely some guidance that needs to come out still. But for an Unearthed Arcana, that came out for a very recently leaked announcement. I'm really liking what I'm seeing so far. I'm joined today with Zyziva, and as I said in a previous one, we're cutting these into blocks, so both of all 5 of them will be uploaded to our YouTube in like 20 to 40-minute links. But hey, thank you for joining us for this stream as we go through this. So, Mage of the Silverquill. The name, I like the name. I have no idea what color is associated with it. I don't honestly know how Strixhaven actually works. I haven't played or looked at any of the cards from the block. But let's see here now. Mages of Silverquill hone the power of words. Hi, I like this already. They channel the magic of light and shadow through words, whether spoken aloud, written, or signed through gestures. Nice little inclusivity there. The words of a mage of Silverquill bring salvation to their allies and despair to their enemies. This is sounding a little bit like a buff debuff.
Yeah, this is for bards, warlocks, and wizards. But like earlier, where you were saying Major Prismari, a bard really benefit from that, but can't take it. This actually allows bards to double down on some of the bard like things that you get here.
Nice. I love buffers and debuffers. Yeah, being a cleric is great to be a heal bot, but being a cleric is great to cast Bane on your enemies.
I mean, when I wasn't doing healing in World of Warcraft, Shadow Priest was my favorite for dungeons. And so, yeah, buff debuff is very fun and very technical. So.
Mhm. So, the using the subclass section explains how to take this class if you are a bard, a wizard, or a warlock, and the functions wherein as. Check with your DM before you use any UA, of course. I'm interested to see how D&D Beyond is going to implement this stuff. I assume it's just going to show up in different skill lists.
This one has a similarity to the Mage of Prismari in that this one's very in the moment also. It's less a prepping subclass where you would make your plans ahead of time and have everything at the ready. This is very in the moment.
Okay, so I have just been struck by the whole warlocks get this at first level. Wizards get this stuff at second level, and bards get this at third level. So you could have a bard that's planning to take this in the same party as a warlock that already has this. I don't know why. That just struck me as something to comment on. But let's take a look at this. Eloquent Apprentice. Let's see, level 1 plus. You learn one cantrip of your choice, either Sacred Flame or Vicious Mockery. Never not a good reason to take Vicious Mockery. You can literally kill a wizard with your mama jokes, to quote a meme I saw. It doesn't count against the number of cantrips you know, and it is added to your class spell list if it isn't there already. Additionally, you gain proficiency in your choice of two of the following skills. Wow! Deception, Intimidation, Performance, Persuasion, Insight. And this is available for bards?
Yeah, I was like, bards don't need this as much as the rest, but
This
yeah,
is
this
the
one's very similar to the start of Prismari also. It's about self-development.
This is the most bardy bard I've ever seen, with the exception of College of Eloquence, where like you can't roll lower than a 17 or something at the start with a +3 in your charisma for persuasion. That is wow, I love it. All right, so silvery barbs. You can invoke words laced with magic to demoralize your foes and turn their misfortune into a boon to bolster your allies. Immediately after a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to demoralize the creature. Unless the creature is immune to being charmed, it rerolls the d20 and must use the lower roll. If the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw fails, you can choose a different creature you can see within 60 feet of you. You can choose yourself. That creature is empowered and can reroll one attack, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute and use the higher result. A creature can be empowered by only one use of this feature at a time. Once a creature fails an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw because of a reroll forced by this feature, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest unless you expend a spell slot to do so again. Holy, holy, holy. Okay, that is a lot. So let's break this down bit by bit. So, ignoring fluff about demoralizing boon, immediately after a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can.
And actually, that's an important point it succeeds on, because before it's like you see the number and you choose before you know if it hits on a lot of abilities. And since you don't know your enemy's stats, you don't know if you're actually being effective or not. This is actually more effective than a standard debuff, because you can know if it will hit before you choose to apply it.
Yeah, so this is. That alone is really great. It's basically a, oh, you succeed? Let's roll that again just to see if you succeed. So it's a disadvantage that you can hand out to a creature. I mean, it's limited
Which is
to.
equivalent to like a -5, which is definitely reducing
Yeah.
the abilities of a creature a lot and helping with turn economy.
So you can do that every time until one fails. So once a creature fails an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw because of a roll forced by this feature, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot to use it again. There's no limit on
So
the spell
so if
slot.
there's so if there's ads and big bads, and you don't have a lot of spell slots, and you want to use it on the one that will do the most damage, so you want to use it like on the big bad because you can use it until it works.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lower ad, you know, might fail more anyway. So definitely using this ability on the stronger creature if you're in a mob type situation is going to do you a lot more good.
And so here is the second half of it, because as great as that is, there's more. Um, if the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw then fails, you can choose a different creature you can see within 60 feet of you, including yourself. That creature is empowered and can reroll one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw it makes within 1 minute and use the higher result. So you force them to miss, and you can give yourself or a friend advantage on one roll. Now, here's the thing that I don't like, um, is that you you use it when they succeed on a saving throw to force them to reroll, but you don't. You have to use it at the beginning of the roll for your ally. You can't wait to see if they fail or succeed.
Well, I mean, your ally just holds the ability for 1 minute, like with an inspiration die. and they see the number. So this one isn't
Oh,
a they
no,
see
it
they
is.
fail.
Yeah, it's reroll one attack roll. So it's not even
So
advantage. Yeah.
so this one, it's not they see they fail and they can boost to a succeed. It is the more standard version of an inspiration die where you see your number and then you can react to seeing your number, but you do hold that for 1 minute.
Yeah.
And if you give that to an ally who's tanking and then you do another spell and you do that again, then you can give it to your DPS and then you can give it to yourself, and all three can be holding until the players need them.
Unfortunately, no, because you only get the reroll to give to an ally when a target fails because of your roll.
Yes, but it can still be on multiple allies because when they fail and you give it to your ally, that ally's holding it for 1 minute. Your next 6 seconds, you can use a spell slot and do this
Oh
again.
my god, you're right.
It is broken good. So you can have this on multiple allies and save it for the crucial times they need it. How good would this be in Tomb of Annihilation?
Okay, so you miss one. Immediately after a creature. Okay, so it uses your reaction. So there is a limiter.
Yes, but per turn, but you can leave it with your ally for 10 turns.
Yes, I was just like, because here's the thing, it does not take an action or anything to expend the spell slot. It's just you expend the spell slot and you can do it again.
Yeah.
So there had to be some limiter, and the limiter is the reaction. So yeah, you can do it once per turn. But I mean, honestly, talking about abilities that grow with you, the higher level you are, the more times you can do this because more spell slots, and forcing rerolls on successful checks is evergreen.
And I mean, when you have level 4 spells, level 3 spells, level 2 spells, you can be funneling your level 1 spells into this.
Mhm.
And, they're not going to be your top priority in combat. And I mean, Bard, Warlock, Wizards, there's not a lot of reaction spells.
I mean, yeah, reaction for wizard is generally going to be shield.
And if you're not Warcaster or something, um, then this is a great alternative to having Warcaster.
Yeah.
I mean, Warcaster's great, but this is a very viable alternative to taking Warcaster, and then you could do something else with that. Take that ASI and not the feat if
Yeah.
you wanted.
And I mean, a bard with this can silvery barbs to bolt to empower their allies, and then on their turn, throw a bardic inspiration at them for extra dice rolling. So this stays with my it is making a super bard. Okay, so let's take a look at the next one, Inky Shroud. You learn the darkness spell, evergreen, always good, especially if you have the ability to see through darkness as a warlock.
Yeah, this is where the bards and the wizards in your party can share the same darkness spell with you, and you don't have to use a spell slot, and you can have teamwork and coordination with advantages for your allies, disadvantages for your enemies. This is definitely something that you would want to know your allies' abilities, and if they have anything that synergizes, plan that ahead of time.
Okay, so you learn the darkness spell, and it's added to your class list if it's not already there. So you can cast it with spell slots. Great. If you are a wizard, you add it to your spell book. If it's not already there, great. You can cast the spell without expending a spell slot, and you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So one cast free, that's standard too, but since you learn it, you can recast it with other slots. When you
This is a
cast
special one cast, though.
When you cast the spell in this way, you can see normally through the darkness created, and when a creature you can see starts its turn in darkness, you deal 2d10 psychic damage to the creature. Wow.
No reaction, no anything when a creature you can see starts its turn. That's the whole mob.
How big is darkness again? Like, what's its rage?
Uh,
What's its rage?
20 feet? I'd have to look
I
that
think
up.
it's 40-foot diameter, 20 feet radius, which is huge. You can also cast the spell normally without additional effects by using spell slots you have of second level or higher.
Okay, 15-foot radius, so 30 feet.
30 feet that's nothing to sneeze at.
No, I mean, that is basically, so great. The kobolds in the party can see through darkness. Can they see through all these D10s they're being harmed at the start of all of their turns?
Yeah. Jeez. That's just a meat grinder at low level. Use that as
And it's a you can, so
you
you
don't
don't
have to.
have,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't have to be your allies. It's an optional thing, which makes it a lot safer too.
So here's the thing. When it starts its turn in the darkness is the only issue. So if they can get out of the darkness or before the start of their next turn, they're safe. And they're safe when they first walk in.
Um, yeah, but I mean, what you would do is you would go to the area where you want the darkness. Or you like it's a 90-foot cast, and you would place it where they're at, and then they would start their turn there.
Yeah,
Like,
so you're guaranteed to at least pop them off once. But if they
and
walk into it,
2d10.
yeah. 2d10
I
at 6th level is decent. That is, and for no cost, that's really good. Even if it's like you can do this once. Because that's clutching along. That's not a. You use that to either deal with a lot of small, easy to kill enemies, or you use that in a boss fight where you've locked the boss into a single place and you're just pinging him constantly.
and I mean, darkness is a 10-minute spell.
Yeah, so it's definitely going to
So
sit there for a bit.
I mean, they'll definitely be looking at you to break your concentration, but also they'll be, probably hitting you with disadvantage to try to break your concentration because they probably won't see you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mostly I would think people would try to do this when they're in the zone themselves to take advantage of both sides of it. Um, but with that whole 60 feet out to cast it, I mean, you could cast it and then still be walking up to the battle, and half of them could be dead by the time you get there.
Yeah. In that case, it doesn't hurt if the rest of the players run ahead and you decide to walk to the fight.
You're taking a lot of pot shots today, Gyrnos.
I am. So, Infusion of Eloquence. This is the level 10 plus pickup. When you cast a spell that deals damage, you can invoke additional words of power to change the spell's damage type of your choice to your choice of Psychic or Radiant. Oh, Radiant Fireballs. Or Psychic Fireballs. And
I love psychic damage.
I love Psychic damage too. There's a reason why I love Order of Scribe. Any creature damaged by the spell takes extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus and has its emotion swayed with despair or adoration based on the damage type.
So this is Texas Pop Star.
I'm a little concerned about Tux's Popstar doing damage to the audience. Oh! Oh! It doesn't say anything about requiring a spell slot.
A spell that deals damage, so yeah.
Yeah, you can use this with a cantrip.
Okay, so we know what college, if we did play this, that Tex would be because this is his Pop Star.
Okay, so Psychic, the creature is frightened of you until the start of your next turn. Radiant, the creature is charmed by you until the start of your next turn. Now, keep in mind, charming effects are not as certain DMs seem to misunderstand charmed and dominated. If someone is charmed, you have advantage on charisma checks against them. You can't.
And they're friendly towards you generally.
Yeah, you generally can't look at them and go, "Hey, murder your friends," and that person go, "Okay," unless that person would be like, "Okay, let's go murder my friends anyway." It keeps them from attacking you. It does not let you control them. That's dominated. Just putting that out there. Massive respect for DMs who stream. I'm a DM who streams, and I'm nowhere near popular, and I get a lot of jitters with stuff. It's just, I'm saying that this is how it works. Frightened of you, I love that. I love having things frightened of my characters.
I mean, sometimes it's inconvenient if you're trying to do battlefield control. I like battlefield control, and if they're just running everywhere, or maybe they go and get reinforcements, or then they hide and they attack you later, it's problematic.
I mean, them having disadvantage just from seeing you is such a useful thing, though.
I mean, it depends how they're played, because if people are like, oh, enemies always attack you to the death, then frightened is great. But if enemies are looked at people that make their own decisions and value their own life and have their own goals, then frightened can end up being problematic in a battle.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been a couple bandit encounters as like, wait, we're offering you gold and you're not taking it. You're going to fight us for the naked lizard man spear? What is your motivation here?
Too many pot shots today, Gyrnos.
Hey, I respect every player I have, and I respect every DM I have worked with and played with. That sounded inappropriate when I said it out loud. You know what I mean. If I did not respect people and I did not think they could handle a little nudging every now and then I would not be friends with them or talk about them or secretly wish that they would acknowledge me as existing. Words of power. You can invoke a word of power that is the pinnacle of your magic study. You gain the following options: Deadly Despair. When the target of your silvery barbs fails an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw because of the reroll, you can invoke a word of despair to give the target vulnerability to one damage type of your choice until the start of your next turn. What's the limitations on this? Oh, there's no limitations on this.
Nope, and it just pairs with your existing cool abilities.
Selfless Invocation. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you takes damage, you can invoke a word of power using your reaction to grant the creature resistance to that damage. And you take an amount. Okay, thank God there's some balancing factor. And you take an amount of psychic damage equal to that damage that creature takes. So,
So
intellect.
they take half damage, and then you
You
take
take.
that same half
Yeah.
damage.
So, Intellect Fortress gives you resistance to psychic damage. And I don't believe it is concentration. You're not broadcasting.
Oh, that would definitely be a strong one for it. This is definitely one of the stronger, more synergizing schools, and one you don't have to do a lot of prep for. You have to think in the moment and grab situations and be willing to interrupt other turns, DM's turns, allies' turns to use your abilities. But this is definitely something you don't have to do a lot of prep ahead of time, and it really has a lot of power and synergy.
So I'm impressed. There's nothing that's super broken in this. There's things that are like, that's pretty strong. But there's nothing like recursive stack infinite stuff. Everything seems to have a limiter. There's a couple of the damage numbers that could probably be knocked around a little bit.
Like, you mean it's like another group interpreted Magic the Gathering to be less broken?
Yeah, right? So, yeah. This has been Mage of the Silverquill, a subclass option for bards, warlocks, and wizards from the Mages of Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana. Whew.